Last question. Holy crap. Why did the prison guards jump on you? That's crazy. Um, does everybody here know this story? Do we want to go through this? I don't know. I don't know, like, if everybody here has already heard this, then, like, I don't know that I want to go through the story. You guys let me know. Tell the abridged version. You can't really tell the abridged version. All right. So I got arrested a while back for breaking into houses. I was a heroin addict, and I sold lots of drugs, and I realized after a while I could do more of my own drugs, more of my own heroin, if I started stealing from other people to make up for the money lost. Ooh, Neo Morai is my friend on Warzone now. Neo, let's play. Let's do this. So, wait, can I pull this up? So, I broke into houses for a while. I went to jail for 6 months. I got out on first offenders. First offenders in Georgia is something that you claim, saying like, hey, I've never really been in trouble before. This is my first felony. I got 3 counts of residential burglary. And so when I claimed first offenders, it means that they're going to put you on a longer amount of time of probation, but they are going to let you out sooner. And if you complete that longer amount of time on probation, then you will then you'll get the whole thing taken off of your record. So I go to jail, get out 6 months later. I get put on 10 years of probation. Okay, I'm 18 at the time. 10 years of probation. I wanted to be clean when I got out. I didn't want to go back to doing heroin. And when I got out, I went right back to doing heroin, like within days. I was depressed. I was really upset about it. But I continued doing the heroin. I did it the whole time. So eventually we figured out ways to use people's debit cards, like me and my friends did. So I started stealing debit cards. I would literally go into the grocery store, pretend to shop for 2 hours, and I would walk behind women, and every time they'd bend over to pick up something on the shelf or turn around from the cart, I'd go walking by real quick, reach into their purse, and just keep walking. Grab a handful of whatever I could and just walk. I had on cargo shorts with a bunch of different pockets in it, so I was able to just walk, shove it in my pockets, keep going, walk behind the next woman. Now, sometimes I would grab a handful of Altoids and tampons. Sometimes I'd get a wallet with a bunch of different debit cards and credit cards in it. So, eventually, the detectives come back to my house, the same ones who were there before, keep asking me hey, crap, this isn't on my it doesn't have my controller on. It has the keyboard on. Um, Dang it! I didn't mean to quit out the whole game. So eventually, they come back to my house and they're telling me, they're like, hey, like, we know you've been stealing these debit cards. We know you've been doing this, that, and the other. And I was like, no, I haven't. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. You can't prove anything. Now, earlier that day, I told like a couple days earlier, I had handed a debit card to my girlfriend because I was going somewhere and I didn't want to have anything illegal on myself because I was afraid I was going to get searched. I think I was going to check in with my probation officer because I was on intense probation, meaning like you got to check in a couple times a day. You have to be home by a certain time. All sorts of like extra things with intense probation, like extra peeing in cups and all sorts of crap. So I gave her the debit card. I told her, I was like, hey, like, here's the PIN code. Do not use this unless I tell you to. So when the detectives came to my house, and I keep telling them I don't know what you're talking about, I didn't do it. I didn't take anybody's debit cards. I didn't do any of that stuff. After like an hour of them like trying to get me to admit to it, they're like, all right, fine, like, we're leaving. But they're like, oh, we have something else we have to do anyways. We got this girl, cute girl, blonde, really pretty. We caught her taking money out of somebody else's bank account. Right there on the cameras, just in this white Jeep, pulls right up, takes money out of somebody else's account. Now, every time I did it, I masked myself. We would cover up license plates. Like, we did all sorts of stuff to make sure that we could never be identified. But this stupid freaking chick didn't listen to me. I told her not to take any money out. She didn't listen, and she took money out of somebody else's account. They immediately called the police. They saw her on the cameras, and so they're telling me while they're at my front door, like, yeah, we got this girl, blah, blah, blah. So they're telling me, like, we got your girlfriend. She's screwed. We're about to go arrest her. So I was like, okay, you're talking about Lindsay? They're like, yeah, we're talking about Lindsay. It's like, so what do you want me to do? They're like, you confess to stealing the 17 debit cards, and we'll leave her out of it. Now, they had also like referenced that like my other friends were complicit as well, that they knew that like they were all in on it, but that I was like the leader. Like, they wanted me. They didn't want everybody else. So I confess. They put me back in handcuffs and take me back to jail. Now, if you're already on probation, you can get sent to a thing called, what's it? What is it called? Probation center? I forget. Dang, dude, I can't remember. Anyways, so I got sentenced to a year. And I eventually got transferred out of county to the probation, or well, first I went to diagnostics in Jackson, and then got my sentence transferred to another place because prisons were highly overcrowded at this point. So it was like 2008, right at the end of 2008, going into 2009, here in Georgia. So they transfer me. I go over there. It's the military style prison. And every day you would get up to go to work, and you would get in a bus and they would drop you off somewhere to like cut grass or to pick up trash or something like that, right? Um, so I was on the landscaping team for a city, and we would go cut grass every day and pick up all the trash. And one day, like most every morning, we would line up outside in a line. We would do all sorts of like different cadences and stuff, but we were all lined up for before we went out on detail. And then when we came back, they would strip search us every day. But on this day, like every day, me and my detail leader, he was the lieutenant, so he was in charge of all of the other all of the other detail leaders, and we would screw around and he would make fun of me, and I would give like uber sarcastic responses. Wow. Like we got along well. It was funny. And every morning, this big fat Officer Foley, big dude, like 6'6", probably 300 pounds, would walk over to the window and pour this white clear liquid into my lieutenant's cup. And this day, like, because we always screwed around, I thought it was okay to screw with him, and so I said, like, we're getting ready to drive off and go to our detail spot, and I said, "Sir, I don't know that I feel comfortable with you driving with us in the car after Officer Foley pours that stuff in your cup." It was obviously some sort of like alcohol, right? Like it was like vodka or something. But he doesn't say a word. He doesn't say anything. We get back to the shop. We go to pick up the lawnmowers, the weed eaters, everything. He starts screaming and yelling at us. We had like a bunch of porno magazines and everything. Woo! That was sick. He made us throw them all away. We had cigarettes, and like as we're walking down the road every day with our lawnmowers and everything, we would random people would just throw stuff out to us, right? Like they'd throw out porno magazines, they'd throw out cigarettes, they'd throw out all sorts of stuff to us, and then over time, like we'd gather it all and put them in boxes and crap. And we weren't supposed to have it, but our detail leader was cool, so he would let us keep it in the back of the shed. And so on this day, yeah, he makes us throw it all away. He pours lighter fluid all over all of it, or gasoline for the lawnmowers, and lights it all on fire. And he was pissed. He was super pissed that I called him out for having alcohol in his cup. So later that day, we get back from detail. We're supposed to get strip searched. And I walk into what's called the shakedown shack. There's no cameras in the shakedown shack. You're not allowed to record prisoners getting naked. And you walk into the shakedown shack, you take off all of your clothes, turn them inside out, then you turn your clothes in. Nice. You turn your clothes in, and then you get new clean clothes that don't have sweat and grass all over them. I walk in, as soon as I walk in, they're already screaming and yelling at me. And I don't know what's up. But I kept screwing up the thing where, like, I'm supposed to bend over, spread my butt cheeks, and cough to prove that I don't have any drugs hidden in my butthole. Because if you cough while you're bent over like that, it'll fall out. Oh, crap, dude. Damn. So I kept like screwing it up and then saying shoot. They thought I was saying the S word. They thought I was cussing at them. I think that's what they were saying, at least. I don't think they really thought that, but that's what they were saying. What did you say to me, boy? Did you just cuss at me? And I'm like, no, like, I don't even cuss. What are you talking about? Yeah, I had to do that every day. Everybody did. You're standing in a room next to like 15 other guys doing it as well. And there's like a guard in front of each one of you watching you do this thing. So I'm standing there butt naked. The guard starts screaming and yelling at me because he thinks I'm cussing at him. So then other guards start coming over and they're getting in my face, screaming and yelling at me. And then they tell me to go put my face in the wall. So, butt naked, I walk over and stand with my face up against the wall. And as I'm standing there, Officer Foley, the big fat slob, just big old dude, like I said, 6'6", just big fat piece of crap, walks over, starts screaming and yelling in my face, right here, just screaming and yelling in my face, and I'm just standing there just staring at the wall, and he's just yapping and yapping right in my ear. And then he starts saying, look at me, boy, look at me when I'm talking to you. So I'd turn and look at him, and then he'd stop, and I'd turn back to the wall, and then he'd yell at me to look at him again. So I looked at him again, and then, like I kept getting in trouble for looking away. But then I had to sneeze. So I look away. He yells at me to look at him again. So I look at him, but I'm about to sneeze. So I raise my hand to cover my face, to cover my nose, so I don't sneeze in his face. And I swear, dude, like, as soon as I put my hand up just a little bit, just grabbed me in a headlock around my neck and picked me up off the ground by my neck. Like I said, I was 18 or 19 at the time. I was heroin addict. I weighed like 140 pounds going into jail, so I was tiny. So he picks me up by my neck, and while he's holding me up, choking me, everything starts like fading black. He actually says to me, I'm going to kill you, Red Dot. And a Red Dot is somebody who is under the age of 21, meaning you have to have like whole milk, you have to have like more calories, you have to have more ways to build muscle and stuff like that, because you're younger, you're still growing. So if you're in prison, like you have to get like more nutrients, more nutrition than the other prisoners. So you're called a red dot because there's red dots on the trays that are for people who are under 21. So yeah, he says, I'm gonna kill you, Red Dot. And so another guard comes over. Everything's kind of like faded black at this point. Like I can barely see. I'm barely breathing. I don't know like how much longer I'm gonna make it. And another guard comes in and starts yelling at him to put me down. This is the guard who is at the door, guarding the door, lets like a couple people in at a time. He doesn't really have like any authority over these guys, but he's still screaming and yelling at him to put me down anyways. So he puts me down like on my feet to where I'm barely... Damn it, dude, you just take my vest.
No, totally not. Here. I'll drop y'all 8 plates.
Whatever. So...
My bad, bro. I didn't mean to pick it up. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to pick up that fucking gun setting.
So yeah, he holds me up by my neck where my toes are just barely touching the ground to where like I'm not gonna choke out, not gonna die, but like I still like I can't see anything. Like there's no blood going to my head really anymore. So like everything's still black. And other guards come over and start punching me in my gut, telling me to stop resisting. Just right in my ribs, right in my stomach, just punching me over and over. And so that same guard starts yelling at them again to stop. So they keep saying, he's resisting. He's like, so then put him in cuffs, like stop punching him. So they put me in cuffs, and then they count down, and they go 3, 2, 1, and one of them kicks me in my back, and then the other one swipes my feet out from under me to where I kind of go airborne for a second. Like one just swiped my feet out from under me, and then the other one kicked me in my back. So I just go straight like this, up in the air, come down. I came down on my knees first on this hard concrete and shattered my kneecaps. Then I came down on my head, busted my head up really good. I was bleeding from my head as well. So, so then like a little bit later, they like pulled my arms with the cuffs. They grabbed the chain on the cuffs and pulled it way up behind my arms so that to where they dislocated my shoulder while I'm laying on the ground with shattered kneecaps, my head like literally bleeding, a puddle all into my mouth and everything. I'm like barely conscious at this point. And then they grabbed me by my cuffs and slid me backwards on the concrete and put me under all of the clothes. So like I said, we go in there and we get new clothes every day. So like there's a big pile of clothes just sitting there for us to change into, or that they give us. So so they put the pile of clothes on top of me, and then they leave me there as they start to let other people back in. Now, when they were, like, the whole time they were doing all of the stuff, like beating the crap out of me, and I'm screaming bloody murder, especially when they are,
There's a whole bunch of, what? There's a bunch of bunny skins.
Wow, nice. Especially when they were pulling the cuffs up behind me. I was screaming bloody murder. So all of the prisoners outside could hear them doing it, and they all try like breaking in, and they're like beating down the door. Like there were actual holes in the door to the shakedown shack. So that's why they hid me from everybody, because there's people outside the door that goes back to the prison. They're all lined up out there in lines. And then outside the front door, where everybody's coming from their details, they're all lined up out there waiting to come in to get strip searched. So they couldn't take me out of either one of those doors because they were afraid a riot was going to start, because they were already like trying to beat down the door. Like that was already insane that they were even trying to do that. As hundreds of people. So they hid me for a while. As soon as they got me under the clothes and everything, they open up the door. A bunch of people break in, come rushing in, yelling, where's Tom? And the guards start yelling at them to get out, and they don't see me anywhere. So they're like, oh crap. So they just go back out and wait again. And I have to wait for them to clear out, and they get everybody out, and then they force me to walk all the way back to the prison. It's like 3/4 of a mile back to the prison from the shakedown shack. So the officer Foley and my detail officer come and walk next to me as I'm hopping on one leg. The one leg was pretty jacked up as well. Like my right knee, completely shattered kneecap. The left knee, pretty badly sprained. Wasn't shattered, but it was bad. But I had to still hop on that knee to get back to the prison. I had a lot of adrenaline at the time, so it wasn't like too bad. But I was the whole way back. I was cussing Officer Foley out the entire time. Just calling him all of the words. Oh, wow, my stream is up on that one. Don't. So, yeah, they got me back to the prison. They put me in the hole in solitary confinement, and left me there for about 2 weeks, and then they finally came and got me and took me to the nurse after 2 weeks. And the nurse said there was nothing wrong with me, that my knee was fine. She literally, like, you know those things that they use to check your reflexes? She actually, like, kept tapping my knee with that. And it was obviously shattered. Like, you could see the bones, like, mangled in my knee. And, yeah, she took her little triangle thing and tapped on my knee, and I screamed bloody murder, and the guard who walked me to the nurse kept yelling at me to shut up, stop faking it. She told him, no, he's faking it, there's nothing wrong with his knee. I started yelling at her, telling her she's a liar, telling her she's a dumb bitch, and crap, that was an accident. Y'all mark somewhere. I'll try to make it there. And like at this place, so because it's a probation prison, if you get in trouble there, they actually send you back to county. And if you get sent back to county, you have to catch a new charge. right? Like, at this prison, they don't just put you in solitary and then that's it. You actually have to catch a new charge. So I tried my best to catch a new charge. Like, I wanted them to send me back. I knew this was the only way, like, I would get to see a judge. And they kept threatening me too. Like, every time I'd scream and yell or like cuss them out, they'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna send you back." And I've seen them send a bunch of people back to catch new charges. I saw them send a ton of people back for the smallest little things. But me, nope, they wouldn't do it. I did everything I could to try to catch a new charge so that I would get sent back because I wanted a judge to hear what I had to say. I wanted a judge to see me. Instead, they added time to my sentence. So they added a couple more months. So I ended up being locked up for a total of 13 months this time. And they just wanted to, like, they extended it as much as they were legally allowed to, so that I was as healed as I could possibly be by the time I got out. So yeah, they kept me locked up and I did not get out. Yeah, it's messed up. When I got out, I tried talking to a couple lawyers. And one of them, the last one that I talked to, he said, don't even try, man. You don't know, like, the real names, the full names of the prisoners that were in the shakedown shack when this happened. So there's no way we can get them to come testify. 2, even if we could get them to come testify, they're all prisoners. They're all convicted felons. They're discredited, so there's no, they're not going to have, like, a very much credibility anyways. And then 3, you're not black. The only way to get people to actually care about this case is if you're black. He said in an actual court case, in like an actual legal matter, being black works against you. But in a civil suit, in a lawsuit, you have to be black. Like, you have to be a person of color in order for any sort of police brutality to matter. In order to get, like, media attention on it or something like that. So that was the last lawyer I called, and I was just like, I was too pissed off about everything, and I truly thought, like every night after getting out, I stayed up for hours and hours thinking about going and finding Officer Foley and killing him, or, like, shattering his kneecaps or something. Like, just the amount of anger after all of that, in finally getting out, and, like, knowing, like, the amount of people in that prison that had to be complicit, like all of the other guards that had to help him and uh, lie for him, and uh, like it pissed me off beyond belief. And I was still in a wheelchair for another like 9 months after that, um, and never really like got it fixed. So like to this day, like I still deal with problems with my knee, and somewhat limp, and have trouble working, and um, take pain medication. I don't know if you guys ever see, but I'll open something and put it under my tongue, and then I sound like I'm like talking with a lisp for a while, or like I have like too much spit in my mouth. Is because my pain medication is almost like acid, where it's like a little strip that I put under my tongue, and it dissolves, and soaks into my bloodstream. And so I so yeah, I was just so pissed off at the time that like I didn't want, I just decided to like move past it. Just like I decided like I'm not even gonna call any more lawyers. I'm not gonna deal with this anymore. Like I'm just gonna get over it now and stop dealing with it.